Hi. So today I thought that we would talk about the Aquaman film because I have finally seen it and I need to talk about it with you guys. So let's just get into the mood, shall we? Okay, I feel like there's a better way to do this, but I'm gonna do this way. I mean, there ain't no handle on this candle holder for nothing, is it? See? My cool candle holder, candle stick thing. Okay, we need some ambiance, or whatever the cool kids call it. Let's just get into this video. Okay, so I have like a whole bunch of notes, which I'm just gonna be going through with you guys. Okay, so it starts off in Maine in 1985 with Lana, who is Arthur's mother. She washes up on the shore and Tom finds her, who is Arthur's dad, and it starts out fine. I really liked it. I feel like Nicole Kidman was a great choice for Lana, and I feel like it was so cool to see her in a superhero movie. And I loved like so much when I saw that, like, okay, so Aquaman's mum is Nicole Kidman and Aquaman's dad is Jango Fett. Like, how? Like, what just happened? Is it Boba Fett or Jango Fett? I think it's Jango Fett, but I am not sure. I am gonna fact check that just for a little bit. Jango Fett, actor. Yes, I was right. Ha! One like thing where I really lolled was when she was like, I'm Lana, Queen of Atlantis, and he was like, I'm Tom, Keeper of the Lighthouse. that was like perfect movie material. It was like, oh yes. You get like a whole like movie in that little space of time. I feel like it's like 10 minutes or like 8 minutes or something like that. But that whole thing, it was just like a whole movie in itself. I would love for that to just be like the Tom and Atlanta adventures or whatever. And also like the badass fight that she has with the security guards for Atlantis or whatever they are, the white dudes anyway. That was really cool, and I thought that was like super nice to have like a boss fight with a female character, because like, and it's only a female character, and that the whole thing with Tom carrying around Arthur and just, you know, keeping him safe, like the gender roles and sort of a power play was exchanged, and I just thought that was great, because we need more representation of strong female characters and loving dads, because usually it's the other way around. And forward a few years, which is also cool because you go through like the sea. They go into the sea and then they like swim around a bit with the camera, and then boom, we're 5 years later or whatever. You know, I just thought that was really cool because they're really incorporating the sea and the fish and everything. I just thought, well, yeah, duh, it's Aquaman. But you know, they could have just done like, oh, 5 years later and then be done with that. But they took it that extra mile, and I appreciate that. Yeah, and that whole thing with him being bullied and like getting the sharks and the fish, like communicating with the fish and then getting them to sort of protect him, that was like super cool. I wish that I would have had that as a child. And then again, we go through the sea and we are now when he is an adult and after the events of the Justice League film. So yes, people already know that there is an Aquaman, and well, people don't know who he is. Well, kind of know, and then again don't know who he is. And then you see this like whole thing with Black Manta before he becomes Black Manta, and his dad gets killed because they're bad people, and Aquaman was like, no, I'm not gonna save you, no mercy. He's kind of an anti-hero at this point, because he's like, I don't care about you because you don't care about the people here, and I'm just gonna save the good guys and leave you to die, basically. So he's kind of an anti-hero, but I feel like when he sort of develops as a character through this movie, he becomes like a normal hero or whatever. Before Aquaman, like when he collides into the submarine, it's so fun because he's like the dad and the guy, I can't remember his name, like what his real name is, but Black Manta and Black Manta's dad, I don't know. They're like sitting there, and he goes, it's something like, oh my god, we just hit something, or something like that. And then the dad goes, no, something hit us. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. It's like a humongous guilty pleasure of mine to like hear stuff like that. I feel like it's such a fun way. I know that people go like, oh my god, this is so stupid, they do this like all the time and stuff. But you know, I am one of those few people who actually still like it. I feel like it's a fun way of doing things, and people are just like, oh my god, it's so lame, and whatever, let it be lame. Let it, because it's fun. Go on with like the Atlanteans being all like, oh, but Aquaman, you have to come with us, you have to be one of us, and yada yada yada. Come and live with us, be king and stuff, while the actual king is like, nope, bitch, go away. But people are begging him to come and be king over Atlantis, and he's like, no, thank you. I just want to live my life here with my dad and just take it easy. Like current king, King Orm, is threatened by that, so he sends a tidal wave after him and his dad almost gets killed. So yeah, that sucks. And it's also like the first actual, well, the second meeting where we get what we get with Mira, but it's also like the first action Mira we can see, and I feel like Mira is just perfect. I feel like Amber Heard was the perfect choice for Queen Mira or Princess Mira at this point. I just feel like she was a really good choice to play this character. And actually the same with Jason Momoa, because he was actually a very good choice to play Arthur Curry, and I am happy with how it came out, like how it developed into this film, basically. When it comes to these types of videos, my videos are just like not at all structured. Sorry about that, guys, and I hope that you still enjoy watching them. But I thought it was really cool, like when we meet King Orm for the first time, I think, cool. I like his sort of like haircut, it looks like a fin from the back. It's so cool, and I feel like it's cool, but also I'm a vegetarian and I believe in animal rights, so I'm also a bit like with the whole riding sea creatures and seahorses and sharks and stuff. And yeah, I thought it was cool, but also like I would not accept this in real life, basically. And also I thought it was a cool way for them to like explain Atlantean politics and go through like the whole of Atlantean history super quickly, and I feel like you got more of a, I don't know, informed palette to stand on, basically. I don't know if that's like a word or anything, but I just feel like I was very well informed on Atlantean politics and culture and so on. I like the fight scenes in the water. I think that they made that look really cool, and I think that King Orm is just basically misguided, because he feels like he's mad at us, like surface dwellers as he calls us, for polluting his ocean and having wars in the ocean and just generally being mean to fish and the people that we didn't know were living in it. And I agree with that, so it's a good point. He has a point, because like what we do to the ocean is not nice, putting it simply. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody just sort of went, hey, you guys have tortured us too long, so now we're waging war against you. And I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I was expecting you last Thursday. A lot of things happen, I'm not gonna like go into it, and then whoop-de-doo, Mira and Arthur ends up having to travel by land, and it's just so awesome to see Mira sort of experience it for the first time like that. And I think that Arthur does such a great job with showing her around and just letting her explore. And the scene with the roses where he actually eats the rose too, that was just so brilliant for me, because he wants her to have a good experience. And so like when she does something that would be considered wrong, he's like, don't worry, I'll just roll with it, because I know that if I treat you in like a dismissive or not very, like, or if I tell you that that's wrong, that will result in a bad experience. And that is just like the perfect human being. It was just like so sweet of him to do that, so that made me so happy. Atlantis was beautiful. I think that it was really cool. The architecture was inspired by the ecological systems that live in the ocean, and I feel like that was just so cool. And it's all like bioluminescent and stuff. It was just like, yes, I loved it so much. And the thing that I thought was weird though, being in Atlantis, was, I don't know if this was like because they're underwater or everything, but when they were with King Orm before the trial, when Aquaman was like chained up, I felt like that part was like super bad with the CGI and the effects and everything. I felt like that bit was just not very well done. I'm not really sure if that was like meant to be like that because of them being underwater and stuff. It was just not my jam at all. I thought it was really, really bad. So this like whole thing with technology and the ambition to get better and bigger and stronger with the help of technology, I feel like that was like, it sends a message, because like what happened was that they were too ambitious and they wanted to push the technology further than it would go, and that sent out this sort of like electromagnetic pulse or whatever, and it sort of sunk the whole city. And that was like, I feel a little bit attacked right now because of the whole, you know, technology pushing us further with our stuff, and you know, we're making robots and stuff, and that's all good and cool and stuff, but you know, I've seen iRobot. And also like the Karate Kid reference was greatly appreciated. And like when they're doing this fight like between Orm and Arthur, that whole dress that Mira was wearing was so cool, with that whole thing in the back, that was like super cool. I thought that whole dress was like, the costumes were great. I just want to put that out there. The costumes were really good. And that whole thing like before the fight, where they have these sort of like screens or whatever you want to call it, with the pros and cons of the fighters. So that would be King Orm and then Arthur on the other side. That was like really funny to me, because they had so many pros on King Orm and it was like non-essential stuff. Some of them were like super weird, and then no cons on him. And then on the other side you had Arthur, who had no pros and cons, like he was drunk and he was a surface dweller and, you know, stuff like that. And I just feel like that was such a peek towards like censorship, because like it was, you just wanted one to look good and one to look bad. They wouldn't put his like pros down because they wanted people to sort of like cheer for their king. And then Mira jumping out of the airplane, that was weird as well. And you know, Jason Momoa is just like, he's just standing there and he goes, redheads, gotta love them. Like, and then he also jumps out of the airplane, no parachute, no safety, nothing. And I was just like, how is that his only reaction? Like, why doesn't he react like a normal person be? I just want to say that the music, like the soundtrack for this film was epic. And also like when they're out there in the Sahara desert and stuff, they find this tomb and la 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 la, and they're in there and they want to start this machine, and to do that they need water because it's completely dried out, and Mira gets one drop of Jason Momoa's sweat to make it work. How does that work when it's completely dried out? The roof scene though was really cool, like how they sped between Mira and Arthur, like running around on top of the roofs in Sicily. That was cool. And there was an equal amount of excitement and comic relief for me, which was nice. And the wine spears that Mira made were really epic. I thought that was really cool because like she uses the liquid and makes them solid and then kills somebody with that. That was pretty cool. And then surprise, Atlanta is alive and she's been living there for 20 years. And I find it weird that she's weirdly okay for being there alone for 20 years. But sure, I don't know. She's maybe got like a great psyche or something. And that moment when Atlanta and Arthur hug, it was so great. Like the acting that Jason Momoa put on in that scene was just so good. It was so good. His face like shared all these great feelings, and it was just grade A acting, guys. It was really, really good. So when he comes out with the trident, he's got his like cool Aquaman outfit, and I'm just so happy with how they dressed him, like that he's actually got the original colors, the original kind of base outfit, and I was so happy with that. I mean, it was just, my little fangirl heart was so happy. Yes, and like when he like shows up on the, I think that's the Kraken that he shows up and smashes through the fight that Orm has started with the other kings. Aquaman is just like, "Rah, coming through, bitches!" And he's there, and then his amplified power just sort of makes all the creatures go from their original size to his side. That was like so epic. And I was like super living for the slow-mo scenes in the like during the fighting. That was like one of my favorite moments in this whole film, were the slow-mo scenes in the fighting, because that was super epic. And then Tom and Atlanta in the ending, that was just so great. So yes, those were all of the things that I loved about this film. And I mean, like the only bad thing that I felt was like bad, it was like some part of the CGI were bad. That was like the whole, that was like the one thing that I was not. And like some things were a little bit unbelievable, but you know, Jason Momoa kind of called their crap on that in the movie, so I'm kind of fine with how it turned out. Those were kind of the thoughts that I had while watching this film. So yes, 5 out of 5. And that's it for this video. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and or subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. What are they called? I know the Swedish word. What's the English word? They're called something. Linus! Vad heter maneter på engelska? Jellyfish! Jellyfish! That's the word I was looking for, with the jellyfish on the back. Linus, vad gör du? Kan du vara här? Jag vet inte vad jag är jättebra. Jag kan inte koncentrera mig på det här. And yes, so that was basically all of my feelings and thoughts that I had while reading. No. I'm so bad at this.